Alright guys, in this video what I want to show you is a way the old timers used to treat wood, especially the farmers, and you know they had like hundreds of fence posts to put up. Actually there was a couple ways they used to do it. One way is to cut their timbers, char the end with, burn the ends up a little bit till they get nice and dark, about the part that's going into the ground, and put that into the ground, and that would actually keep the bugs out and stuff like that. Another way is they used to use old motor oil and diesel fuel, a 50-50 mix, and that's what we're going to do. Just get yourself a 50-50 mix of motor oil and diesel fuel. What we're going to do is just going to paint it on, okay? Let that soak in for, I don't know, a day or two. It'll pretty much be dry to the touch. And then what we're going to do as an added protection, we're going to paint the end that's going into the ground with asphalt, okay? You can pick that up at any big box store. I got this here, a gallon's worth. It's a roof coating, and it's a asphalt base. Make sure you read that. It says asphalt base. They have aluminum stuff and all the different kinds of stuff, but this one is an asphalt base, so it's basically asphalt tar. And we're going to do the part that's going into the ground plus an extra 6 inches or so that's sticking up out of the ground, because the part that's really at the ground level is the part that really rots the most and the bugs get to the most. So, and another key is don't do the very, very bottom of your post. Do it with oil, put the oil on there, but don't put the tar. Because what happens is, if I were to do this all in tar and the bottom, and after it dries, I'm essentially creating a cup. So water will eventually seep through and in under the tar and stay in there, and there's no way for it to get out. So you leave the bottom, you treat it with oil, but you don't treat it with the tar. Okay, and as far as cementing, I personally wouldn't cement posts into a ground because you're just looking for them to rot. Again, what you're creating is a cup. What you're doing is you're putting this post in a concrete cup. So water is going to seep through there, and it's going to stay in there, and it's got nowhere to go, and it's going to rot. If you think you have to use concrete for whatever reason, what I would do is dig your hole, put your post in there, put, I don't know, maybe 3-4 inches of dirt, and then put your concrete in, okay? This way what you're doing, you're still getting the stability and a bigger diameter because of the concrete, but when the water does seep in, it'll be able to drain out the bottom, okay? It'll come out and it'll drain into the soil. It won't get trapped in there, okay? So if you have to use concrete, just make sure, like I said, put it in the ground, fill it maybe, 2-3 inches, 4 inches of dirt, then put your concrete in, and that way your water will be able to get out and escape. All right, so essentially what we're going to do here is just paint it on, okay? And this post right now is treated wood, and it's treated for ground contact, so I wanted the most protection possible, okay? So what I did is bought my posts, and when you go buy posts at those big box stores, they're usually wet still. So I let them dry in my garage for a few days, and so now they're ready. If they're really wet, I wouldn't do this. I'd wait till it dries out a little bit. That way the oil will soak in better. And that's really pretty much all there is to it. Now, like I said, the old timers used to do this. There's posts out there that are about 100 years old that were covered in oil or tar, and they're still standing today. I've heard guys doing their fence in their yard with engine oil and diesel fuel, and 25 years later, and their fence is still standing. Okay, I had where I used to live in Houston, I had a fence, and it lasted me, oh my goodness, let's see, 2004 before it was put up. And I think about 6 years later I had to replace the whole fence. So I'd rather replace it every 20 some years than every 6. Okay, make sure you get the ends and you soak that really good. And of course, when you do this, make sure you're wearing clothes that you don't care about, and shoes. And I'm wearing these work boots here, and this oil's dripping on them, but you know what? That's even better for the leather. Now, for all you that think that the world's going to end because I'm going to contaminate the ground and all that stuff, no, you're not. This does not contaminate the ground. If I were to pour this onto the ground, maybe, yeah. But this is soaking into the wood. People have been doing this for years and years. Of course, check your local laws. If you can't do it, don't do it, you know. I treated my fence where I used to live in Houston with the Water Seal, your typical big brand. I don't even want to mention it. Water Seal stuff that you put in your pump sprayer. And whatever dripped on the ground killed all my grass all around the fence, which was great in my favor because I don't have to cut weeds there. But that is contaminating the ground. If I were to pour this on the ground on some grass, most likely it wouldn't die right away. It'd be less contaminating than those Water Seals you buy at the big box stores. This is a natural product, okay? Honestly, you pour this onto a weed or whatever, it will kill the weed in time. And within probably less than a year, the bacteria in the ground will eat this stuff up and convert it into fertilizer. Okay, so if anything, I'm reusing oil, repurposing, I guess you want to call it, and doing something with it. And no, I'm not contaminating the ground at all. Think about what are roads made out of. They're either made out of concrete or asphalt. And what is asphalt? A petroleum product, okay? All right, looks like we got this one done. I'm gonna set this into dry and we'll just continue on. All right, guys, I let these dry out for a day. I'm ready to put tar on the ends. So I got this Henry's roof coating. It's an asphalt base. So the first thing you got to do is you got to stir it, and it's pretty thick stuff. The thicker stuff lays on the bottom, and the liquidy is more on top. So you got to mix it really good. And if you're going to use a paint stick like I'm using, you got to be careful because you could break the paint stick. So what I do is I kind of like shove it down in there and lift it up and kind of push it around like that. But just be careful you don't break the stick in there because you'll be digging it out. Here, I'll show you what the consistency looks like. And that's what it looks like. It's pretty thick stuff. Alright. Alright, so now after this is good and stirred, is you try not to make a mess. So get yourself an old brush. Wipe off what you can. All right, now what we need to do is figure out how much of it's going into the ground plus an extra 4 to 6 inches. So on my posts here, I know my auger is going to go down at least 3 feet. So I'm going to measure 3 feet plus, I'm going to go an extra 6 inches. And I just get a Sharpie and mark it there. All right, now just start gooping it on. And like I said earlier, don't put any on the very bottom. On the very bottom of the post here, because it doesn't, I don't care how much you coat this thing, water eventually is going to seep through there. But the key is the water's got to get out. So it's got a place to get out at the bottom. This stuff is extremely thick, and it really sticks well. Alright guys, so after you finish up doing all 4 sides, put them somewhere where they don't touch nothing, of course. Maybe put some cardboard underneath and rest up and lean them up against something. And let them dry for a couple days till they're not, you know, sticky to the touch anymore. And this stuff should dry up. And then you're ready to put them in the ground. And if you do put them in the ground, I would suggest in your hole, in the bottom of the hole, put a little bit of gravel, put your posts in, and then fill it in with limestone or the, you know, the dirt you took out. Would be good enough for a fence post. Now, since I'm not using concrete, I'm not going to be sticking it in 2 feet. Okay, this is going to go in at least 3 feet, if not more. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. I hope you learned something, because I sure did. I didn't know none of this stuff. I was just doing a lot of research online, and I started, you know, thinking all these fence posts, you know, they only last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they rot, and it's because they put them in concrete. So I'm thinking, how did the old timers do it? You know, so I started doing some research, and this is it. And they got fence posts on some of these farms that are over 100 years old. You know. These guys out in the farms and out in the country have been doing this a long time, and the rest of us, you know, we go to these big box stores, we buy these name brand water sealants, and they don't last very long. It's kind of like throwing your money away. All right, so guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.